caution in your tone, Commander. I'm a fair guy, but this fucking heat is making me absolutely crazy.
Alright everyone, I'm off the freeway and back onto the Malibu Canyon Road, which I have not put up a video of.
Police and thieves in the street.
Last week, which was a pretty lousy weekend. Well, the rides were good, but there were a couple of bad things that happened, and I got a speeding ticket on PCH last week. That really sucked. But the funny thing is, this would be my second ticket. My first ticket was in the car. When I first got the new car, I was pretty excited. The car what got me into motorcycling, ironically enough. When I got the ticket in the car, I was actually really speeding, and I got busted big time. So I had to pay the maximum fine. It's like $384. And I couldn't take the online traffic school because I was over 25 over the limit on that car incident. Last week I got the speeding ticket while completely zoned out on PCH, and so I didn't really feel guilty. But it's not that I wasn't speeding probably, because I really wasn't paying attention to my speed. But I didn't feel guilty about it. I was riding safely, and there were no cars around, and the sun was shining, and it felt really good. There was really nothing dangerous about the speed I was traveling at. But I even waved at I even got a wave from a motor cop, a CHP on a brand new BMW motor cop bike. And he waved, and I waved, and I just kept going, and he didn't care. And a little while later, I'm riding along, and I looked down my rearview mirror for the first time in a long time, because I've been kind of zoned out. I'm just cruising along to the music and just not a care in the world. And I look in the rearview, and there's this CHP Cruiser behind me. And as soon as I look in the rearview mirror and see the car there, that's when the guy turns on his lights and siren. He finally realizes that I realized that he's even there, and he's probably been following me and pacing me for quite a while, doing whatever speed it was I was doing, because I was in that Zen meditative zone where I'm paying attention to traffic and road conditions and everything but my speed, because I'm just riding under the condition of, do I feel safe? And there's just the safety envelope, and as long as you're inside the safety envelope for the prevailing conditions at that time, I don't really see what the point of worrying about the speed is, as long as you feel like you're inside the safety envelope, well within it, like 60% of it. I was definitely within that, but nevertheless, it's not an excuse to go speeding everywhere you go. But so the cop was pretty pissed off when he pulled me over. I had the mirror visor on, and he said, "Give me your license." And I looked at him and I said, "What?" Because I was really surprised. I didn't even know why he pulled me over. I thought he was pulling me over just because he didn't like motorbikes and wanted to just look at some tailpipe or some other random infraction or something. But it wasn't. He said, "You were doing this speed in this area, and it's a 55 mile per hour zone." I said, "Yeah, I know it's 55 miles per hour. I thought wasn't I doing 55?" He said, "No, you were well over that." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." I don't understand people who argue with cops right there on the spot. If you're going to argue with them, why don't you just take it to court? Argue it there however you like. But there's no point in antagonizing the cop right there. You never know, he might give you a break, take you some slack. So I said, "Okay, whatever." And he said, "Take off your helmet." So I took off my helmet. And I didn't have the camera in the helmet or anything like that. And he would never have seen the camera anyway. But I also had my earplugs in, my earplugged earphones with the music going. And he didn't ding me on that either. He didn't pay any attention to that. He said, "Just give me your license." So I gave him my license out of the tank bag. He goes back to the car. He says, "Get off your bike, put down the kickstand, stand over outside the road." I said, "Okay." I did that. I stood there. And the whole time, I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel like I've endangered anyone or been going too fast for the conditions. I feel completely like I haven't done anything wrong. I mean, I'm sure I've probably broken the letter of the law, but I just really, I couldn't care less. It was like, whatever. This wasn't like the time in the car where I was really gunning it and like, quote-unquote, putting the car through its paces on an empty stretch of road somewhere in the middle of nowhere, California. It was the middle of nowhere. It was well outside the city limits, middle of nowhere. But that time I felt really guilty because he really caught me pretty much red-handed. But this time I wasn't even thinking I was doing anything wrong. Whereas that time I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have been doing that. It was, really stupid. But in this situation, I was just zoned out and relaxed, and everything was good. And then I got pulled over. So I didn't feel bad, even while he was writing me the ticket. And then I go over there while he's writing the ticket, because I think, this is my last chance to try and get out of it. And I go over there, and I gesture to him that I want to talk to him, and he says, okay, come on over. And I walk over to him. That's another thing you do when you're dealing with traffic stops, because in traffic stops, in the police academy, they do, there's another thing I learned at that class I was talking about earlier, in a previous video. There's something like 40 hours. It's 40 hours of instruction that's dedicated to traffic stops alone when you're in the police academy here. Because of all the different things that can go wrong in a traffic stop, there's a lot of complications. I guess there's a lot of different configurations. What if your guy's in an unmarked, a windowless van? What if the guy's in a convertible? What kind of situations? How can these people reach for weapons? And who knows what it is, but there's 40 hours of extensive training for cops doing traffic stops. So the last thing you want to do is make it look like you're going for a gun or something. So whenever you want to even approach the cop, I think it's common sense that you should let him know what your intentions are all the time. So anyway, that's a little aside. So anyway, I go over there and say, hey man, any chance you can just let me off with a warning this time? And he's like, well, he wasn't, at this point he was kind of pacified. At this point he didn't seem like he was really pissed off. And he's like, well, we've had a lot of motorcycle incidents around here as of late, and they're really sort of wanting us to crack down a little bit. And I'd like to, I ride a bike myself. And I said, oh, what kind of bike do you ride? He says, I have a 64 Harley. I said, oh, okay, that's fine, that's cool, I guess. I said, yeah, nothing as fast as what you're riding. But, I don't, he says, I hate to see you get hurt out here, so, ride safe, be really careful, and, I marked it down a little bit so you can take traffic school, so you won't have to worry about getting a point on your license. And so, you cut me some slack, so I appreciated that. And the truth is, he probably would have let me go if I had been, I'm trying to figure out if this thing is even recording right now. I think it is. But he probably would have let me go if I'd seen him immediately early on when he first pulled in behind me to pace me. If I'd noticed him right away, because if I were checking my mirrors more conscientiously and dropped the anchor, so to speak, and slowed down, he probably would have let me go. I mean, cops technically don't really like to give tickets because it's a hassle, it's a lot of paperwork and bullshit. So, and if you're not riding like a complete ass, they usually tend to look the other way and let you go. But this time, I guess, I tested his patience a little too much. He really thought I should have noticed him, and he seemed a little upset about that, so he gave me a ticket. So the moral of the story is, hey, don't zone out to the point that you're not really paying attention to what's behind you and not checking your mirrors and thinking that everything's great with the world. Zoning out's bad. It also reduces your reaction time if something's in front of you. And, don't antagonize the cops. Usually they're pretty nice if you're wearing full gear and they recognize you as a pretty sensible motorcyclist, and you're carrying all your documentation like your license, your registration, and your proof of insurance. As long as you have all that stuff readily available and you're not mouthing off to the cop, there's always a possibility of getting a bit of a break.